The Z to Z Podcast.
Good morning, good evening, or good day, and welcome to the Z to Z Podcast, the home for Xbox achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies. I'm your host, Brandon Freeman. Thank you so much for listening. At Z to Z, we love gaming in particular, grabbing achievements and gaining Gamerscore. We do news, reviews, and interviews. It's about achievements, we'll unlock it. You can find show notes for this show as well as previous shows on our website, z2z.com. This is episode 94. You can also contact us with questions or comments on Twitter at Z2Z, Z-E-D-T-O-Z-E-D. About our forums, forum.z2z.com, or email us directly, contact@z2z.com. Well, I'm not actually on the show today. I just wanted to do a quick intro, touch base with you guys, because it's October, right? We got a brand new month starting here, so there's tons of new stuff going on in the Z2Z community. And then, Proulx and Randy and I think Warren will take over the rest of the show. But I just want to, a quick recap on kind of what I've been up to and what's going on for the month here at the Z2Z community. So usually I save this to the end of the show, but you know what? I'm going to throw it in right now. Because it'll be fun. So here we go. Let's start with some of the community things happening over at TrueAchievements.com that are related to our community. Of course, we're still doing the GTASC, the Great True Achievement Score Challenge. We are in period 39 right now. There are 20 teams left, and we have one representative from the community, Big Willie 4.0, with Miserly Pluto still alive. Last 20, that is an awesome feat. Some big points going on each week there. As far as the individual side of it goes, we're down to 36 individuals. We have two listeners that I am aware of, at least as of now. Others could let me know if they're still in, but I have Oreo 2682 and Redemption Denied. So those are the other individuals that are in the final 36. So great job on that. The other big thing that's been happening and is the UHH, the Ultimate Head-to-Head Challenge, the third installment of this tournament. Personally, I've been doing okay. I'm clicking right along. I don't have a lot of time. I laid out my plan for the week here, which I'll get to in a little bit. But given all the boosting sessions I'm a part of, I really only have 2 nights of open gaming, so that makes life difficult. So I got to really get to those that low hanging fruit. But my first week, I won 4-0. And then in week 2, I won 11-9. I actually was down 5-9 going into Sunday night, but I kind of saved up all these like little quick hitters there at the end for a nice little comeback. And at I think there was like 2.5 hours left before it transitioned over, and so I just quick popped a whole bunch of them. And my opponent, Evil Genie, was like, great job. Like you had me. I wasn't gonna stay up and try and get anything else down. So that was a nice win, 11-9 there. So I'm 2-0. I got a decent score for that. As far as we haven't really talked about since it's been going on, because we've had 2 now weeks of things that of sessions of matchups, and we didn't really highlight any of the matchups that were within the community, our community members who go against each other. Right, there's tons of community members who are competing in the event, and they're playing people who, as far as I know, don't listen to the show. So let them know about the show. Then I can include them and you on this little roundup here, but. I think the only one I had in week 1, which we talked about in our Discord chat, which you can join the conversation. Lots of UHH talk over in my Discord chat. That is discord.me/Freemhole. It's FREAMWHOLE. You can come talk with us there. You strategize, help find some people who can help you get some of those achievements off of your UHH. The quick, for a quick one-off LFG thing, or if you're doing your random to-do list, that's there as well. But anyway, so week 1 we had ZZ Urban Spaceman and WebChimp. So Jack from True Achievements and our very own Tarragon. Tarragon ended up winning that one 3-0 in week 1. As far as week 2 matchups, there were 4 highlighted matchups. We had Big L versus Oriole, who I mentioned up above there. In week 2, Big L won that one 2-0. So way to go, Big L. Doughboy versus Illegally Sam. So Illegally Sam is one of the members of the community. We hired him under the community events team. So he works with me under the community events team. And, of course, Doughboy helps out with the show all the time. He's a huge help. He ended up losing by 9-0. So way to go, Illegally Sam, on that one. We had Skeptical Mario and the Tomatometer. That's the one, Tomater. Who Skeptical pulled out the win in that one, 14-3. And then we had Keith 27-11-79 beating Kung Fu Skills 13-8. So nice work there. This time around, so for week 3, we have 5 matchups featuring 2 listeners that I'm aware of. We have Akaraba 2 versus Tatey. In week 3, we've got Keith 27-11-79 versus Spookyhurst. So, he gets another matchup against a listener. We've got Kronos versus the Yiddler. And then Chin Doctor versus Koosh Moose. And one of my favorite matchups, well, because it's mine, Freemhole versus ZZ Urban Spaceman. Yes, the game-sharing partners line up, which is weird because technically, yes, Tarragon has every game that I have, right, because we share, but, my list is pretty small, and Tarragon has everything on his list. So, I guess that makes it a good match, because maybe I didn't match up with anybody else, but, yep, there it is. We, Tarragon and I are matching up. Now, the benefit for me is that I still have access to my 360, and I have the Connect. We have 2 Connect achievements on there, 3 360 achievements, so I can gain some ground on there. What I have going against me is that Tarragon has much more time and is typically a better gamer than I am in terms of knocking these things out. So we'll see how interested he is at that. Of course, this comes out before everything's all taken care of, so we'll see. I'll have to wrap it up next week on that one. As far as standings go, I got a long list here. I just want to highlight some of these. These are the people who are still in not to be eliminated or can move on to the knockout round. We got Chin Doctor in second place, Eld in 11th place, Buffalo of Lies at 76, Angel SK 92, Mark B at 101, Geek Squad 119, Shababble 122, Skeptical Mario 126, Spookyhurst 132, Kahuna 28, 142, Weasel Pizza 153, Iron Fist of Snuff 174, Keith 27-11-79 at 182, Crunch Flake at 197. So those are our top 200s who are in there. We also have Eliphet 77 at 215. He's in that mix too, and I kind of stopped at that point. The highest ranked host, if anyone's curious, yeah, it's me. I'm at 361st place with those 2 wins. 15 achievements and then a bonus 20 points for the double win. Hey, yeah, right. So that works. So keep it up, guys. I don't know how many. I didn't even bother looking at the who can qualify for the knockout round. I know I definitely cannot. So I'm just doing it for funsies. But I'm really enjoying this iteration here and trying to find all the crossovers with random to-do lists. It's great. It's super fun. Speaking of random to-do lists, they are up. We're in October. September, I got 7 achievements, only 835 points. It was fine. It was okay. UHH really stymied my progress in that one. There were some opportunities I saw that I had to miss because I was focused on other gaming. But I'm excited for October. I'm trying to do those crossover lists, help line up with what is also our gamer tag for the month is Mighty Mango. Really, I set up my UHH to have many of the letters needed for Mighty Mango, so I'm pretty well covered in that one. And then our community challenge for the month of October, first-person shooters. Doesn't get any simpler than that. Having to figure out what a sport is, having to figure out any sort of sounds like, reminds me of, blah, 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 blah. It's a first-person shooter. You really can't get any more straightforward than that. It is that season, guys. The first-person shooters are among us. One of the more popular ones is Destiny 2, which I've been playing a little bit. But, of course, UHH has really affected how much I can focus on that game. So I feel bad for our, the Z2Z community clan members who are in there because I'm not helping. I freely admit I'm not doing my part. Sorry, but, man, there's so much UHH that has to be done. As the one other contest that we have going on, the Mokas M. Surin's Overly Convoluted Achievement Spectacular. This one is probably the most convoluted that we have so far. October is called Back and Forth. And so the way it works is, so in the first achievement you earn in the month, that is worth its Gamerscore in what he's calling his convoluted score, his CS points. So that is a positive CS points. Let's say you unlock a 20-pointer. You have now 20 CS points. Well, then your second achievement actually subtracts from that total. So if you got another 20-pointer, well, the two 20-pointers cancel out and you're back at 0. And then your third achievement adds, your fourth achievement subtracts, your fifth achievement adds. You get the story there. And I believe it's a golf score we're looking for. So if you can cancel out your earnings for the month, that is what's going to get you your entries, and it'll be a reverse. So the person who has the lowest score gets the most entries, and so forth and so forth. So good luck on that. That should be a lot of fun. I want to remind everybody, since it is the end of the month, by the time this comes out, you still have an opportunity to put your entries into the forums, forum.z2z.com. Let us know what you what you earned for the month. Sports, sea monkey powder, and any the random or the random to-do list is already taken care of. But I do want to mention, in the Gamertag challenge, Tarragon has a link in the original post, right? So if you go up to the top, the op there's a thing that says submissions, right? And you can click on that and type your gamertag into submissions, and it'll do a search for you, and it'll let you know if you qualify, right? So you don't necessarily even need to post, hey, I did it, I'm done, I'm ready, blah, blah, blah. You can actually just type your name into that submission field, and it'll spit out, and it'll let you know. So, yeah, it's great. It's great. It's really coming along nice. The final couple things I want to mention as far as the community stuff goes before I move into some of what I've been up to is our Patreon giveaway. I want to thank everybody who's been a patron so far. You guys, I mentioned this before, but this is just amazing. Our winner for August, which I still owe him a code, is Foo Foo Cuddly Poof. So you got a code coming your way. And then I will be drawing September. September. We're in October already. Holy crap. September's winner here very shortly. So I'll continue to post. And addition to that, we had Chin Doctor on the show last episode, and we're going to start pulling in more community members to the show. So when you reach a threshold and we can line up some time to get you on the show, you're coming on. We want to talk to you. We want to hear from our community. It's the least we can do, and we couldn't do it without you. So we want to hear from you. We want you to be even more part of the show and part of the community. Not that you can be anymore, because you people are so well integrated into everything we do. It's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. Speaking of that community, one of the best places to converse with them is in Discord. We have a bunch of boosting rooms set up. I mentioned I don't have any time to do other gaming because I'm part of all these boosting groups. So we've got our Plants vs. Zombies on Thursdays, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, the first game. Big L is running the Xbox One version there. So he's doing the Xbox One version, and I am doing the 360 version. So if you're interested in doing the 360 version, we're playing on the 360. Of course, it's not backwards compatible, which is a bummer, but we are chatting on the Xbox One. So hopefully you have both consoles there. If not, you can still join the party, and we can talk through Discord as well. That's an option. But if you're interested in doing the 360 stuff, and then when we're done with the 360, we'll move into the Xbox One version. At least my crew is. I'm not sure what L's team is going to do, if they're still going to be working on the One or what. And then, I don't know, maybe Garden Warfare 2? Who knows? Maybe we'll need to change pace. But we're also doing Halo. I believe Halo 4 is currently underway right now. That is happening on Tuesday nights. So if you're interested in doing the Halos, Proulx is managing those sessions, so you can join up with him and participate. A lot of boosting in terms of Halo 4, earning XP, leveling up, gear, all that fun stuff, and setting up scenarios where you can join the community, have some fun, play some multiplayer in Halo 4. We're adding, because of the impending withdrawal of support for Battleborn, we're now doing a Battleborn Wednesday. It's going to be pretty casual. Where most of it's going to be focused on playing, doing the lore challenges. So we'll be playing the missions and trying to just earn achievements through general gameplay. And so if you're interested, I think it's 5-man teams that do the little raid missions, the strikes. If we have more than that, we'll work on some multiplayer stuff. But if we have 5, we'll do a couple missions here or there, and just kind of play that every Wednesday. I think we've got at least 4 right now. I've got a spreadsheet set up, so if you're interested in tracking yourself as well, please, you're welcome to join us. It'll be fun. So if you're listening to it the day this show comes out, join us tonight because that'll be a Wednesday. If not, Wednesday's moving forward. They're going to have a casual Sunday of Borderlands. Really nothing set in stone, so if you want to be a part of this, it'll be kind of the Discord chat where we talk about trying to get Sunday nights going for Borderlands. The reason I say it's casual is because, that's one of my open nights for the UHH, and given that that's the time when it ticks over, it's a great opportunity to kind of hammer home and finish up some achievements. So, if I got a lot I want to try to get done, I'll probably pass on Borderlands. But once the UHH is over, then we can go into full swing on that one. We're starting with Borderlands 1, of course, and then moving into probably Borderlands 2 after that. Pre-sequel, I suppose. I don't actually have the pre-sequel yet, but I'm sure I will eventually. Finally, pretty sure this is still going on. I think I saw it last week, and I don't know. You have to join the Discord. I barely pay attention because I'm not involved. It is the Left 4 Dead on Wednesday nights as well. So, if you're not doing Battleborn, you can do Left 4 Dead with the crew. I believe that's still going on, although they're probably wrapping up relatively soon. They've been going for a while, so I don't know. Find out in the Discord chat. That's where you want to be. Finally, I know, I've been talking forever, guys. Actually, my part's probably longer than the main show. I get it. Hopefully it's been entertaining. This part I'll just breeze through because I want to just mention a couple of things that I've been up to. I want to give you my win. I'm calling it a win-loss of the week, all right? So the win of the week is in Connect Sports, all right? I had a UHH achievement to do win a match of boxing. Okay, and you if you're listening to the show, you know that I do some kickboxing, and so it turns out it was really easy. Now, granted, it's relatively easy anyway, but it's nice to be in shape and know how to fight. I kicked the crap out of that computer dude. Like, I whooped him hardcore. I knew how to block. I could throw quick punches. I mean, it was fun. It was actually like the first time I got to use my my kickboxing prowess outside of the gym. That being said, I'm pretty sure I would not be able to win in a fight. I'm not sure how practical it is, but man, beating up an Xbox avatar character all day, every day, I could do that. Now, what I can't do, turns out, and this is my loss of the week in Connect Sports, is freaking bowling. Like, oh my God, I just cannot stay consistent in this for some reason. I'd go and get like a turkey, and then my next one would be just a crap, just gutter ball or something. Oh, it's not that bad. But like, I need to hit 250 for one of my random do list achievements, and the highest I got is 207. Like, I can't mark enough. And then when I'm trying to do the finesse shot, I can't get that going either. And so it's like I'm trying to be as consistent as possible. I'm doing every single thing the same over and over. And I just, for whatever reason, it's not, right? This is 360 Connect tracking. I get it. It's going to be tough, but I'm not giving up yet because I do have a UHH this week with Tarragon against Tarragon to get to level 10. And so I might as well be earning experience while I'm throwing gutter balls and trying to get turkeys and whatnot. A couple other things I've been up to. I played a little Assassin's Creed 3. I finished Chapter 3 in that game. Those chapters in that game are super long. And so I'm just like trying to rush mainline through it. And I got Chapter 3. That was part of my... was that my UHH? UHH. I also have Chapter 4 now in my random to-do list. And so I'm going to try and to take that off as well. And then Plants vs. Zombies was super successful. We're messing around in some of those modes that aren't terribly crowded. And so I ended up getting 6 achievements in there. We're getting close to finishing up those. Really what we have left is to get the wins is probably the most difficult because we're just kind of messing around getting, the character challenges and things. And, it's just, we're just having fun. playing, and it's not a serious boost. It's just people getting in and just knowing you have a bunch of people enough to play games, and then every now and again to be like, hey, can someone sign in as an engineer so I can blast them, and that works out really nice. The last 3 games I want to mention, 3 highlights because they are amazingly fun. I put them on my list because I was just really excited to get to play them, and I finally have an opportunity now. And so I've been dabbling a little, and I'm hoping I can continue this because actually they're all on either my UHH or random to-do list for the month of October here. First one is Mark of the Ninja, the 2D Xbox 360 stealth game. Man, that is just a really cool art style, super fun, fluid mechanics. I'm really liking it. So I just played through probably the first hour or so of that game, but I've got a couple other a little deeper into it this week. Is at least my plan. See if I can get that off of Tarragon here. Probably have to wait till the weekend, but I am super enjoying Mark of the Ninja. That game is great. And then we've got Typo Man. I know Big L talked about this a ton when he did it, and we've had a review Zed for it in the past. Just a sweet, cool-looking platformer. And it's darker than I thought it was, a little bit more menacing, but I'm really liking this one as well. It reminds me, I really like those text twist games, where you type in, you got to find all the different words and things. So I'm really enjoying that part of it, because actually the achievement I needed for my UHH was to craft 30 words, and just so happens that this week against Tarragon, I have to craft 100 words. So I'll be back into that game messing around with some spellings and moving some things around. And so that's always fun to do those word type games. Finally, one of the I know I saved this and I really shouldn't have because it's just amazing. But Ori and the Blind Forest, finally got around to starting that thing. It is just gorgeous, just an absolute gem. I am just loving the art style and how beautiful it looks, and then that coupled with how awesome the mechanics are, right? It's such tight platforming. It is so good, and really, I'm not even to the point now where I have all the movement abilities because there's so much more that gets added on once you start getting, the ability to jump off of projectiles and to do air dashes and things like that. So, I just got the double jump. That's barely scratching the surface on what we can do. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I do have another achievement in the UHH this week. So I'm excited to go back into that this weekend. It's just great. So if you see me online, hit me up. We can chat. We can have some fun. I look forward to seeing any of you in our boosting sessions this week. That pretty much wraps it up for me. I've got a wedding to go to, or I guess I was a part of. That's why I missed the show this week. So it was awesome. My brother-in-law got married. It was really great. I had a lot of fun. If you're Facebook friends with me, you can see pictures of my family all dressed up. We were all part of the wedding party anyway. And so that's why I missed it. Didn't get a ton of gaming this weekend. But I'm excited to hear what Proulx and Randy and Warren have to say about all the fun news topics and gaming of the week. So, without further ado, here is the rest of the crew with the rest of the show. And if you're looking for me and you're interested in connecting with me, I should probably sign myself out since you're not going to hear from me again. You can reach me on Twitter at Freemhole, FREAMWHOLE. And probably the best place to come chat is Discord, discord.me/Freemhole. And that's, anybody can get into that at any time. So, yeah, that's it. I'm out. See you guys later. I'll talk to you next week. And I hope you enjoyed the rest of the show. Have a good one.
All right. Well, thank you, Freem, for that wonderful introduction. And I have to say, I'm very surprised that how in-depth you went at all of a sudden your turnaround for Destiny 2 and how much you hate it. I didn't see it coming, Freem, and frankly, putting it in the intro didn't seem appropriate, but
really quite amazing.
He had a lot of good points. He basically said it was the worst game he's ever played, and no one should ever play it. And kudos to you,
and
Freem.
anyone who did should just smash the disc.
Yeah, kudos to you for recognizing when you were wrong and being man enough to admit it on air. That's amazing, and thank you for that introduction. Truly. So, joining us this week, we have a special guest, reoccurring guest, I should say, Planting 42. Warren, how are you doing today?
Oh, doing pretty good. How about you guys?
Oh, I'm doing great. You know what? I actually think Randy has had a pretty good night, right? So why don't we hear about it?
A pretty good night.
Wait, you're not rain cloudy?
Well, we'll get to that. But right now, so I think I've mentioned it on the show before. If not, people that know me know. I'm a big fan of Oreo O's. Big fan. Like my favorite cereal of all time. Now, this week I discovered something. Like a couple nights ago, or maybe it was last night even. I was talking with Proulx. We're discussing what we're going to talk about on the podcast this week, and somehow Oreo O's came up, as it does. And
frequently, yeah.
So Proulx said, "Oh, I should get some Oreo O's because I've been meaning to do that." He goes to Amazon and tells me a box is about $9, which seems very cheap considering that they have to come from South Korea, because it's the only place in the world where they can legally be manufactured. That's a whole story. I won't get into that. But anyway, so then I look on Amazon just thinking, man, that's cheap. I should get some of those. And it turns, and I look at the box and I say, that's not a Korean box. And that's not a box from 2002. That is a modern American box that shouldn't exist. So then I go looking, and it turns out in March or April, Oreo O's came back, and I didn't know. Oreo O's are back.
Some super fan you are, man. They came back without you noticing?
I know, and I don't know how this went this long without me noticing. But they're exclusive to Walmart. For
limited
exclusivity. Limited exclusive. So it's a timed exclusive to Walmart for Oreo O's.
Timed exclusive.
Next month they are coming to the Xbox One, I heard. So we'll see.
So tonight I went to Walmart and I got some Oreo O's, and they were exactly how I remember them. Even the smell. I opened the bag and I smelled them, because that's what I do. Like when I taste a new soda or a new tea, I always smell it before I eat it. And they smelled exactly how I remember them. They tasted exactly how I remember them. And because the Korean ones were slightly different. They had marshmallows in with the chocolate O's. Or
interesting.
There were some in North America that had the marshmallows as well, but most of them did not. But the Korean ones all did.
Did you try the ones with the marshmallows?
I'd never had the Korean ones. I kind of want to get a box now and compare them to see if they're also exactly the same. They also come in like a foil bag, which is kind of neat. And they've got a little like mascot guy on the box. It's like a little cream poof with sunglasses on the Korean ones. It's not on the North American ones. Anyway, I was very excited, but I went into Walmart and I found the slot in the cereal aisle because it had a little flag that has a little Oreo O's or back sign thing. And they didn't have any. So I was super bummed out. And then I asked one of the guys working, and he was going to go check the back. And one of the other guys was like, yeah, there's like a whole flat of them back there. So he got me some Oreo O's out of the back.
Score.
I don't usually go to Walmart. I don't like Walmart very much, but for Oreo O's, I can make a trip to Walmart.
Yeah, I'm conflicted because I swore off Walmart years ago. And, I do want some though. So I'm like, how long is it going to be exclusive? Maybe I can just wait. I don't know. I might stop by and pick some up.
Just go Walmart. I mean, you can order them online, so you don't actually have to go into a Walmart. I mean, I don't hate going into Walmart as much as I hate going into Target. Target is like the most depressing store on the planet.
Oh, see, no, Walmart's way worse. I go to Target all the time. I don't have any problems with Target.
I really don't like Target. I don't like Walmart, not so much because of the stores, but just because of the company in general. But yeah.
Well, that
I
is
don't
very
particularly
exciting,
like
though.
going to Walmart either. I just dislike going to Walmart less than Target.
Interesting.
So
I don't know. Would you qualify that as your win of the week?
Probably.
If you have anything else,
I mean,
though,
it's pretty excellent.
Yeah, but
Oreo, I just finished consuming an excellent bowl of Oreo O's before this podcast. That's why I'm not rainy right now. It's fantastic.
Do you have anything else that you would consider a win of the week as well? We'll just go right into it.
I mean, it's kind of a little bit of news, kind of a little bit of win of the week, but Xbox Canada has a little contest going on. And that is that they're giving away 5 Xbox One X's to the top 5 gamer scorers that sign up for the contest until around the 20th of October. So it's about a month. So it runs from like the 29th of September to the 20-something of October. And since, I'm still a Canadian, I have a Canadian account. I don't know if I actually qualify for the contest, but I'm going to try. And even if I don't, it's kind of a fun little challenge anyway. But I've got a lot of easy games stored up, so I made a little goal for myself, and I think this could potentially put me in the running. I'm going to try and get at least 50,000 gamer score and 50 completions by the end of that window. I'm already at 6, I want to say. Yeah, I've done 2 a day for the last 3 days, including today. So I'm over 60,000 gamer score, or 6,000, not 60,000. Over 6,000 gamer score and 6 completions in 3 days.
So you just have to keep that up for 3 more weeks.
I'm on track.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that gives me a window. So that's good. That's a pretty neat contest, though.
Yeah, I'm really bummed that they're not doing it, here in America. I wonder if this is like kind of a pilot thing, maybe. I don't know. I don't know why they're restricting it to Canada. Oh, whatever. Maybe they have different, groups that do that.
Maybe
Maybe
they just have different marketing groups.
Yeah.
I mean, they just decided, hey, we've got 5 of these to give away. What do we want to do? Let's do a gamerscore contest. So the other thing too that I should say about that is, as I highly suspect that 360 achievements do not count for that total. So when you sign up for the contest, you have to agree to the terms and conditions, but you can't read them. There's no page to read the terms and conditions. Yeah, because I tried to find them because I was interested. I'm like, hey, am I actually eligible? Is there going to be a leaderboard? What counts? What doesn't count? Don't know. I have no idea.
Have you tried tweeting like Xbox Canada or anything like that?
I tweeted them and they didn't respond to me. So
boo.
Whatever.
Well, that's actually pretty awesome, though. I mean, that's a really cool challenge for yourself. Like I said, I wish I could do the same kind of thing, but that'll be fun, I'm sure.
The thing that I'm interested in too is, so they have this. It hasn't really been announced widely. Like, I don't really know how many people know of it, and you have to opt into it. So it's not like they just reach out to the top scorer for the month or whatever. It's the top scorer that has signed up.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, the 50,000 is pretty reasonable, I think, given the number of games that I have access to that are under 3 hours for a full completion. I mean, there's over 50 games right there that I have access to that you can complete in under 3 hours, many of which are under an hour. So yeah, I'm burning through those real quick. But I think any sort of, coming from Xbox, any sort of encouragement towards achievements is good. We like to see this sort of thing. We obviously it'll help grow the achievement community and kind of shed some more light on it. So it's both a cool contest in which you could potentially win something pretty awesome, and a great way to draw attention to this community. I said, I'm just upset that they're not doing it here. Yeah, it's too bad because it's cool, and I think it'll be interesting as I want to see too. Is I want to know how much someone's going to put up.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see. I mean, not necessarily me, but just whoever's there and all the other people that are probably much more casual, as the majority of people in the contest are going to be, just because the majority of people on Xbox are. Then they see like, wow, somebody put up 100K in a month, or somebody put up 80K in a month, because someone's going to put up like 100.
Well, yeah, is Smirnov going to join?
I would think. I don't know. I was gonna reach out to him and see if he was participating. I was also gonna ask if he had any recommendations for games to idle while I'm at work for more gamer score.
So I believe, because I went to the page and it does say that you don't have to sign up before the competition begins, right? You can sign up halfway through.
No, you can sign up at any point in that window, and all gamer score that you've earned in that period counts.
Yeah.
But you do still have to opt in. So if you play through that period, you never opt in, at least from the way it's worded, it doesn't, like, you're not in. So you're not factored into that leaderboard.
Yeah, I'd reach out to him.
Even if you outscored those people.
Just say, hey, this is going on, just to see what he says.
I mean, his regular scoring is probably going to put him in the top 25.
Exactly. And I'm curious, too. I mean, you said that you suspect that it's not Xbox 360. I would be a little skeptical about that. I would think that it might. But I'm also curious, like,
my thought is you can cheat Xbox 360.
Oh, that makes sense.
One major thing. And two, the Xbox One Friends leaderboard doesn't factor in 360 Gamerscore.
Right. I was also thinking, what about if there are any restrictions against like fresh tags? Because what if you just wanted an Xbox One X and you had access?
Oh, I doubt it.
I assume so too. But you said that you couldn't really see the particulars of the contest.
Yeah, there's nothing. You can't. I mean, I assume they exist, but there's no way to access it, to my knowledge. At least not from that page, unless they've updated it since I looked at it.
Well, I'm sure we will hear about what you've been playing a little bit later and later on this month. So it'll be kind of cool to track what you're doing and how many points you get.
Busy month, I think.
Yeah. Good luck to you. And we, like I said, we'll hear later on what you've actually been playing. But what about you, Warren? Have you done anything fun? What is your win of the week? Anything super exciting happen to you?
Well, let's see. This week, mostly focused on UHH. I'm unfortunately not a pudding, but I'm not doing great with it either. My opponent started off the week with an immediate 12 achievements, and they've added one since then. So, mentally defeated. That is me. I played a little goat simulator, so I got on the board. So they're not gonna get a full pudding out of me, but yeah. Besides that, I did a little work on random to-do list. Played a little Gat Out of Hell. Not a great game.
Ooh, I'm sorry for your loss of time.
You don't have to tell us that it's not a great game. That's for sure.
Yeah, right. I remember hearing about you guys suffering through it. Other than that, trying to finish up the end of Laser Life.
Truly awful game.
Yeah, it is indeed an awful game. So yeah, I'm finishing up Laser Life. I'm just down to collecting all of the memories, all of the little bits, I should say, of each memory now. I've completed all of the memories. And other than that, it's working on our Game for Reviews ad, which is yet another platformer. I hate platformers.
Man, Damien is just making it real rough on you these days, huh?
Oh, he loves me. I can tell. Deep down inside, he loves me. Or he wants me to turn into a platformer. I don't know which.
Did you have better luck with your UHH last week?
Yes. Last week was thankfully a much better match. It was really hard achievements, I think, because of that reroll.
Yeah.
But I ended up with 4. My opponent had 5. So it was a much closer match. I'm a lot happier with that one.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I guess we'll just roll what we've been playing and one of the week here together at this point, since it seems like you just gave us a rundown there. What I picked for my win of the week was my friend, a buddy of mine who I played campaign with on Gears of War 4 when it first came out, hit me up and was like, hey, let's play today. And I was like, cool. So booted up the game and unlocked 17 achievements just by booting into the game. That's always a really nice feeling.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, they had an update not too long ago. Actually, I think it was called the September update, so it was right in the beginning of the month, I believe. And a whole bunch of co-op stuff that we had done previously unlocked. And I'm like, wow, like that is a great feeling. Like getting retroactive achievements. I wish more games did that. It doesn't seem to be the case. But we also started our inconceivable difficulty level run. Got a few acts in. It's not going to be too bad because you can do the cheesy have one player play on casual and one player play on inconceivable. It's just basically at this point, if you pop your head out, you're dead. Like, I mean, Insane's tough, right? Like you can't take much damage, but
Insane is like so tough it feels impossible.
Yes.
It's not fun. It's like Call of Duty on Veteran. It's that same type of thing where it doesn't feel like you can be good at the game ever. It just feels stupid.
Yeah.
And then you get lucky once and you get to the next checkpoint. And then you die and die and die and die. And then you get lucky once, get to the next checkpoint.
And that's and inconceivable is a level above that. So For instance,
which is ridiculous.
Yes. So we were playing, and it was the beginning of the game, and I was staying behind because I knew it was going to be silly difficult. So I'm just like, okay, I'll wait in the hallway before we get to the room where the encounter is, because I just don't even want to deal with it. There could be splash damage, there could be snipers, there could be whatever, right? So we were going along and made it a few chapters in, and we get to this point where there's a cutscene. And as soon as the cutscene's over, you're starting to get pelted with mortar fire. Well, before the cutscene ended, I had died. Because as soon as I had hit skip cutscene, the little red gears symbol for "you have died" symbol popped up. I'm like, well, this doesn't seem very fair. I don't even get to move. And then the only other time that I actually saw any enemies, I turned a corner and Halo 2 level snipers killed me instantly. Like, I just turned the corner and I died. So it's more about patience than anything. It's definitely doable because we were kind of running through it once you realized, okay, I'll just hide. Never attack anybody. You just have to run through the whole game. There's another very difficult achievement they added to that game where they have an Iron Man difficulty now. So basically, if you die anytime in the game, you restart the game. You have to restart the entire game. And you have to do that on at least hardcore difficulty. We're not sure
if there's cheese for that.
I'm sure there is, yeah. I'm not sure if we're going to do that at this point because you can't do it. We're already having to do 2 more playthroughs, one for each of us on Inconceivable. Maybe someday in the future. I don't know. That's crazy. But anyways, so yeah, getting all those achievements to pop was pretty exciting. Other than that, I'm in a tight race. Well, I was in a tight race for my UHH. He started out, he's a UKer, so the first day that we got our lists, he popped on and got like 5 achievements that day before I even left work, which is kind of demoralizing, but I stuck with it until yesterday. And right now we're sitting at, I'm 10, he's 12, and half the achievements that are left are almost impossible to get, and the other 2 or 3 I don't even really want to go for. So I think I'm going to call it at this point. He's won. He's bested me, and it was a well fought battle. I played a couple of games for that. Obviously,
play Dark Souls.
I'm not going to do it. The thing is, I was playing. So I was playing through Fez because I wanted to get that achievement. It wasn't supposed to be hard, but I didn't. When I jumped into Fez, I had no idea where I was. So I'm like, okay, I'll just start over. I don't think I'm that far in. Then I played for an hour or so and then tried to come back the next day, and my game just freezes when I try to load it. So I'm like, I'm not going to restart that game. And he's already 2 ahead of me and blah, 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 blah. So I played a couple of games for that. Guitar Hero 3, I got an achievement, and Serious Sam, Undertow, Super
Did you end up getting a guitar?
I did. So I went to a secondhand store, bought a guitar for $40, used guitar. And my Guitar Hero 3 achievement was just for buying all of the guitars or whatever it was, which there's a cheat for. So it worked for that. But I also had a Guitar Hero 2 achievement on my UHH list for getting a 1,000 note streak, which I think is completely doable with my skill level, but not with that guitar. The guitar is broken. It's just used. It's old, and like when you're pressing the buttons, they kind of flicker on and off as though you're pushing them instead of holding them down. So it's not.
Yeah.
I think I'm just going to have to go take it back and
what kind of guitar did you get? Like, which one is it?
It was
the Guitar Hero 3 one?
Yeah, it was the Guitar Hero 3 one, yeah.
Yeah, those ones have a lot. Those ones have always had problems with the connection. It's the connection between the neck and the body.
I've had much better luck with the wired Rock Band. There's a rock band. Wired Guitar Hero 2 guitars. Those things have pretty good longevity.
Yeah, those ones are invincible. Even the Guitar Hero 4 and 5 guitar is pretty good. So that's my Guitar Hero guitar that I have. But
so that's okay. So that's good because when I went to the store, they have Guitar Hero 2, Guitar Hero 3, and Guitar Hero World Tour sealed guitars, and I mean they're like $80. But if I were to get one of them, you definitely suggest one other than the Guitar Hero 3 one.
The Guitar Hero 3 was the most popular guitar among Guitar Hero players, but it was also the least reliable.
Okay.
So like the design was very good, but the design for playing it was very good. The design for longevity was not.
So you'd say,
but between when Guitar Hero 3 came out and Guitar Hero World Tour was released, I think I replaced that guitar 4 times.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So they got better every time, but they still were flawed every time.
Sure. You know what, though? Actually picking up that guitar and playing it, I miss the click. I miss the click of the strums. And I'm not a huge guitar player, but I always liked the click instead of the squish of like the Rock Band guitars. It was always nice to have that again. So I'm going to take that back and probably get one of the new sealed ones. That way I can just have one, and anytime I need to use it, I can use it. But
I'm surprised they have sealed ones at a store.
Yeah, it's
hard to come by.
What's that? Oh yeah, they are hard to come by. Yeah, it's like a big store, and I think it's kind of just more of like a distribution point / retail front for an online store. So they have a whole bunch of stuff in there. I mean, you go in there and there's just walls of old collector's editions of stuff, and it's pretty interesting.
Sounds awesome.
It is.
Why didn't you
I
take
bet you
me there
like
when
it.
I was visiting?
Because I forgot this place even existed. I actually called GameStop and they're like, "Oh yeah, try this place," and I did, and they had one in stock. So, anyways, that was neat. That was my UHH experience. I think I won last week 6-4. I'll lose this week 10 to whatever he gets, and hopefully maybe I'll come back next week and do a little better. And yeah,
are you planning for fun, or are you trying to go for the knockouts?
I mean, I'll go as far as I can. At this point, it seems more likely that I'm going for fun. But if I can, if I could feasibly get all 20 games, I would do it. If it wasn't Dark Souls or, completing disc 3 on
Dark Souls is TA playlist this month.
Yeah. I do not like that game, so I probably won't. But if it is something that's feasible, I'll generally go for it and I'll try to get it. But at this point, when I kind of know I'm going to lose, it's like, I have a lot of other things to play, so I'll probably just stick with something else. So that is... Oh, I was just going to say that's what we've been playing, but no, Randy, go ahead and tell us what you've been doing for your little challenge here.
Yeah, I've had a lot this week. So before the challenge, I completed the Sims 3 Windows Phone. So I went down to New York City last weekend. First time I've been there. Very busy place. It's much bigger than I thought it was. Or thought it was going to be. So I took the bus down there and I played the Sims 3. And it wasn't bad. That's probably the best Windows Phone game I've played in quite some time. A little bit buggy. Had it crash a couple of times, but overall I gave it 4 stars. Pretty fun game. Then we played Cameo.
Oh yeah.
Now that is a bad game. Every time I go back to that game, I'm just remember how terrible it is. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible game.
It's awful.
Terrible game. It's probably, we were discussing this while we were playing it. I think it's worse than Grabbed by the Ghoulies. I think it is the worst 3D game Rare has ever made.
I wouldn't fight you on that.
It looks and plays like it has been in development since the N64, which is the case. I mean, it was functional on, I think, 3 different consoles. I think there was a working GameCube version, there was a working Xbox version, and then it was released on the 360, which is, I guess Perfect Dark Zero went through that too. Turned out a lot better.
You say a lot, but that's relative, I think.
I mean, Perfect Dark Zero, other than the brutal difficulty, was a pretty fun game.
We agree to disagree on that one, I would say.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Anyway, speaking of bad games, ACA Neo Geo. Now, everyone always says these are the worst, and the emulation is terrible. I did not expect it to be this terrible. So I played my first batch of these games. I had a good friend come over and visit me who has many of these games. And I got to play some. And man, they are brutal. They're so bad. The emulation is just terrible. The menus are terrible. The button layout doesn't make any sense.
Oh man,
the buttons aren't consistent.
Yep.
And if you pause in caravan mode or high score mode, you have to restart the game. You can't unpause. But they let you pause.
Yeah.
They let you pause.
So obnoxious.
Why did they let you pause?
That is probably my biggest beef with that entire series of games.
Just don't let you pause.
How nervous do you get every time you unlock an achievement that the whole world is going to crash on your Xbox?
Oh, I haven't had that happen yet. That seems to be okay. And I haven't had any bugs. Not yet. So I played and completed World Heroes, Fatal Fury 2, and Samurai Showdown. Samurai Showdown actually wasn't terrible. That one seemed to emulate okay, and the game wasn't terrible. And I'm in the middle of The Last Blade, which is also not super terrible so far.
I'm hoping with each game that they release, they have enough profit to just fix one line of code. Eventually, I think maybe it'll be decent. But at some point,
I'm sure there's not many lines of code in that emulator either.
I know.
With how rough it is. And I also started and completed Clash and Black and White Bushido for my Gamerscore channel. Both very easy. All of these games are sub 1 hour.
Nice.
With the exception of maybe Fatal Fury. I think Fatal Fury took me like an hour and 10 minutes. But yeah.
So lots of games.
Super easy. Yeah. And I've got, probably won't complete another one tonight, but I think I'm going to try and do 4 tomorrow.
Ooh, that'll be a good day.
We'll see how that goes. Yep.
Will that be your best day ever? 4,000 points?
I don't think so. I can have a look. Anyway, we can move on. I'll look into that while we continue.
All right. Well, actually, before you do that, let's move into a topic that you wanted to talk about. And so I'll just kind of let you go off with it.
Well, so I listened to an interesting interview this week. So I've said on the podcast before, I quite enjoy the people at Night Dive Studios because I love what Night Dive does, and I think they're interesting people. But this is actually, I had a little bit of a change of heart on DRM, which, as many of you probably know, not a fan of. Generally not a fan of DRM. But in this interview, it was by Larry Kuperman, and he was saying kind of like the future of DRM and how it can actually be a positive thing in a system like Steam or Xbox, where it does what it is and it's not just copy protection, where when you think of it kind of as a management system, not a copy protection system, and it can be positive, which I didn't really ever think of it that way, because if you look at Steam, if you ever lose your computer, you ever lose your Xbox, you go to another computer, go to another Xbox, you can still download those games and play them again. And I never really thought of that as DRM until listening to this, which I don't know, maybe that's just me. I don't know. What about you guys? And I guess the other thing too is, should we differentiate between DRM on physical media and DRM in an all digital space?
Well, I mean, I think they're fundamentally different from each other, obviously, because, well, they're on different media, so that they have to behave in different ways. I mean, there's always been a lot of pushback in the gaming community towards DRM because it generally seems to stop things that prevent people from doing things that we all kind of consider reasonable with things that we're supposedly supposed to own.
Well, I mean, that's why that's still why I oppose it.
Right.
We'll get to that, but
yeah, it is. It's an interesting way of looking at it, like you say, to think of it as the way that you can, because traditionally DRM has kind of been looked at as a foe of the gamer because you don't get anything out of it. You know what I'm saying? It seems to be the big company holding you down, stopping you from doing what you want to do. Whereas the digital rights kind of, and if you look at it that way, we do get a benefit out of that. We get the ability to play this game on any system that we're logged into. And
that's why that outlook was so kind of like, it just kind of clicked with me. That was like, yeah, that actually really makes a lot of sense and is a super good thing, because it's not you just get 3 licenses period or whatever. It's like, this is digital rights management. You manage your digital rights, unless Steam goes out of business, and then you're out of luck, which is still a terrible thing. But I mean, that's not going to happen in the near future. I still kind of have that fear of, what happens if you get banned from Steam, because I mean, it doesn't matter if you cheated in Counter-Strike, you shouldn't lose access to 1,000 games.
Something you paid for. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's kind of where it's an issue for me.
Well, by the same token,
the other thing
what happens with people who get banned on Xbox? It's all those digital games you purchase are tied to your profile.
I think you can still play them.
I think you're right. I think you have to log in that profile and sort of just use it as the owned profile, and then play on another one.
Yeah, because you can still sign in. It just doesn't let you connect to. I mean, you still sign into Xbox Live, I would assume, and you can still play all your stuff. You just can't play online, or you can't play with other people, or send messages to your friends or whatever. But you can still access all that content, and that's fine. You should be able to be banned from the service. You don't have the right to play online, but it shouldn't be unless Steam has changed, which it may have. I mean, this was a long time ago when I heard these horror stories happening, but it was horror stories where there was some program that Steam was picking up as cheating and just banning people. And of course, I'm sure we all know, good luck getting anything out of Steam if you have a problem, because they just a year ago, you could finally get a refund for things that didn't work after how long? And before they just say, just go to the forums and post it. It's hey, we got banned for something that shouldn't be banned for, lost $10,000 worth of games. Great. Awesome.
Well, I think too, obviously switching from physical to digital media makes a difference, but I think there's a bigger picture, which is, the companies didn't, this process is becoming, or has over time, I think, become more consumer friendly anyways. I think people were, these kinds of situations that you're talking about came up, and people were just no, we're not doing this. We're not going to have this. And eventually the companies kind of had to at least give some leeway with what they were doing. That's why, like you say, we're kind of getting to the point where we can see maybe this is more in balance at this point. Maybe this is a more acceptable system. Yeah. These are reasonable expectations on both the service provider as well as the consumer, and you understand what you're getting into, and they're still being fair about it. So I mean, it's not perfect, obviously, and it won't be for a very long time.
I still hate Steam, but this has definitely kind of been opened my eyes a little bit more and be a little bit happy about DRM, because I do like that kind of. I just think of the management aspect of you get to manage your digital games within reason, obviously.
Yeah.
But I like that. I like being able to say, hey, I'm at my friend's house. Oh, I didn't bring my Xbox. Let me sign in. I'll download my game. Or I'll sign in your computer. I'll download my game. We can play it. Or, I'm at a internet cafe. I'll download my game here on Steam.
Wasn't it just...
I guess the other thing too is we always think of, at least I do, always think of DRM, at least in kind of older physical games, is only when you see it. And there are plenty of games, this was brought up in the interview as well, there are so many games out there that have DRM and you don't even know because it works. But I mean, I guess just as often as it works, it kind of doesn't work too, because now we're looking at some of the old, I know Dead Rising 2 for Games Windows Live, you can't activate anymore because the activation server is dead. I mean, that's less than 10 years old.
Yeah.
And now, unless it's installed, can't play it anymore. I mean, you can crack it. You can't play it you can't play a legitimate copy of it anymore.
Yeah, well, hopefully things will continue to improve.
Yeah.
It's been a long journey from early days, CD keys to where we are at this point. So, I say, I think things are getting better overall. I agree. Wasn't it just a few months ago that Xbox changed their policy that you could change your home Xbox from 3 times a year to 5 times a year, I believe, is the case now. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah. So these things, like I said, not perfect, but it's just as important that the corporations are able to protect their stuff as we are ours. So we just have to find that middle ground where everybody's happy.
It would be really nice to have, when these things kind of hit this end of life, if there was a way to just eliminate the DRM.
Sure.
Just release a patch for whatever it is. Like release a patch for Xbox 360 and now you can just sideload XBLA games. No copy protection, nothing. You can't play them on Xbox Live, but there's no restriction. So if you back that file up yourself, there's nothing stopping you from playing it indefinitely into the future.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, and that's what happens with these games, is especially if they kind of get abandoned over the years, like Dead Rising 2, you just can't play them anymore. And it's a shame, because then you have to hopefully find someone online who's cracked it. And even then it's kind of like
or
probably still not really allowed to do that.
What you could do is buy the new double triple HD version of that game that was just re-released for $35. You could do that too.
So I know, Warren, we were kind of talking a little bit last night about, you mentioned DRM. So I was trying to think of somebody on the podcast who'd kind of been around in the early days of particularly PC DRM, because that's where it was more prevalent. Do you have any experience with that?
Yes.
In old stories of DRM back in the day, and horrible DRM, maybe some good DRM.
I'm struggling to remember the name of the game. I actually want to say it might have been Half-Life 1. Just simply wouldn't install on my computer thanks to whatever DRM was on it. Because I didn't have good internet, so on dial-up internet it wouldn't authenticate. So I was like, "What the yeah?" Because this was way back in those days when people had dial-up internet.
Yeah.
So I had to go and use those evil websites to try to crack the game so I could play the silly thing that I legitimately bought, have the disc for, but simply cannot boot. This is just killing me. That was the best example I can think of, and I haven't really had many since that point in time. But yes, back in the early day of CD keys and PC gaming, DRM was usually worse than anything else, and that's why people hated it. It was because you go to install it and it won't work because I'm not on the internet. It won't work because it needed something on this disk, and this disk didn't get finalized just right, and now it can't read some bit here that a couple things like that.
The 1 kilobyte code of copy protection on the disk or whatever.
Yeah, we've come a long way from then, for sure.
Yeah. And then the other one is Spore, which is kind of a famous anti-DRM. So I did some research on this today, and I've used this example for years because I remember it when it happened, and it's so interesting reading the way that media outlets write about Spore and DRM versus today. And it's so to me, it really parallels my view of horse armor and microtransaction cosmetics. It's the same thing in how much the attitude has shifted and how people just became okay with not really owning your content anymore. So now we'll get to my rainy side on DRM. So basically what happened with Spore is the game came out. There was it's hard to find because now a lot of the articles have kind of been buried and lost by Google not being good anymore. But basically what happened is it was released under the impression that you could install the game on 3 computers and have 3 profiles. So if you and your brother, you and your friend or whatever, I guess more you and your brother if you live in the same house, you could buy 1 copy of Spore, install it on both your computers, and both play. Well, when it came out, despite having this printed in the manual, by the way, then EA said it was a, air quote, misprint.
I thought you were going to say typo. Mm-hmm. That would have been amazing.
Oh, no, they did say typo.
Did they really?
Not misprint. Typo. Yeah, it was typo. Yeah. Yeah, it was a typo that you could only have 1 profile per CD key instead of 3. So obviously people were very upset about that because it said it in the manual and, everywhere. So, and then the other thing is you could only activate it 3 times and that was it. Then you had to call EA and have them like manually remove your computers from the database. You couldn't even like uninstall it and move it. It was that, and it was just awful. So, and then the other thing, like, okay, so now you have people buying the game, having problems playing it properly. And I don't know if it was released worldwide on the same day, but it said that the game was cracked and released on torrent sites 2 days before its Australian release. So I don't know if it was released later in Australia, but that would have been very close to the worldwide release because I think Australia gets the same time as Europe, I think, which is usually the Friday instead of the Tuesday. So that would have been like 1 day after it came out in North America. And it was also, and so basically as a result of this DRM, it was the most pirated game of 2008 with over 500,000 copies downloaded. And in that same time period, they sold about 1 million copies. So my guess is what happened was 1 million people bought it, and then 500,000 people downloaded the DRM free version from torrent sites of the people that bought it.
Because they couldn't install it on their own computer, yeah.
Because, like, this is this is a friend, but I have a friend who likes to buy things on Steam and then download them on torrent sites and play them without Steam's DRM. Definitely not me. Someone else that I know. Probably.
Just for
same idea is like.
Sorry, just for context, and just because I was curious and very interested, I wanted to look up the top 10 list of most torrented games of 2008, and just for fun, Spore is number 1, The Sims 2 number 2, Assassin's Creed number 3, followed by Crysis and Command & Conquer 3.
Assassin's Creed had some really terrible DRM too. That had always online DRM, I think.
Oh, did it really?
Then people DDoSed the servers, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Assassin's Creed.
So 1,700,000.
Then somebody. Wait, in 1 year? In 2008?
That's what it says. Yep, that's what the list I have right here.
That must be of all time. Because it was definitely 500,000 copies
for the year.
Wow.
Yeah, with only BitTorrent downloads. I didn't think
it would be that much.
Only BitTorrent downloads presently accounted for.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of piracy.
There you go.
Yar.
A lot of pirated copies. Yeah, so I mean that shows what bad DRM does. But anyway, it was really interesting reading these articles that talked about DRM. They're like, this is so terrible. This is like, really anti-consumer. People should be able to do what they want with their games. And one of them even called it, I love this, a glorified rental. And now we're in the digital future 9 years later, and that's just everything. Everyone's okay with it. It's interesting that it shifted like that. I mean, some people like me are not okay with it, but I mean, really, that's. I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying. Every digital game you buy is a glorified rental.
I get what you're saying, and it's not that I disagree with you. It's just that times have changed, and that is the point.
I know.
We just have access to so much more content now than before for so much cheaper that it doesn't seem worth it to throw up your arms about this sort of thing for each individual game. It's just a different environment now.
Quite realistically, for most people, they don't care.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If you go to if it expired in 5 years, people wouldn't care because people just throw their games away or give them to GameStop for 2 cents after 2 months anyway. So, I mean, most people don't care. I care because I like to keep my games for a very long time. I just think it's interesting because this is the same thing where, this was an outrage. Having a glorified rental in 2008 was an outrage, just like Horse Armor. And now it's everywhere. But anyway.
You know what?
Leave Spore at that. I just think Spore was a really. I wish I would have looked up. I should have looked up SimCity too. I think that was 2012.
Oh yeah, that was much more recent, huh?
That was an absolute mess. Which was basically what it was. It was a game that was completely capable of functioning offline, but had to be connected to the internet at all times for DRM purposes, and the servers were always busy. So nobody could ever play it.
But we can thank these terrible, terrible failures, again, for moving it towards a more pro-consumer position at this point, where the default seems to be much more in a comfortable zone where, okay, I have to buy it. If I have to purchase it, that's fine, but give it to me when I want it. Let me play it how I want. It's, again, not perfect, but we don't have any more of those well, not anymore, but we have less
I actually can't think of a DRM fiasco since SimCity.
Yeah. So I think we're heading in the right direction, for sure.
Yeah. And it's also nice to see DRM with copy protection free games. I mean, they call it DRM free, but I mean, you look at a website like Humble or GOG, I mean, there is DRM. You can access your games and re-download them as much as you want. But the games run without any. You can take those files you downloaded and run them on anything. They don't have to check a server. They don't have to do anything. They just work, which is nice. And I'm much more willing to buy those, me personally, than Steam. So I try to make an effort to not buy things on Steam.
Just out of sheer curiosity, Randy, just to kind of wrap it up here, how concerned are you about how long you'll be able to have access to these ACA games?
Oh, man. I mean, those are real gems. I'm pretty concerned.
Would you refer to them as glorified rentals?
Yeah.
I would refer to them as glorified rentals.
I would refer to them as glorified garbage, but maybe that's just me.
It is garbage.
Randy, it's fortuitous that you brought this topic up this week, right? We have some news.
I know. This is a very strange coincidence. So, we were trying to think of a topic to talk about this week. We wanted to do more of a discussion and not necessarily something that's in the news, but
let's just say we had a free whole monologue.
I listened to this interview
to finish. So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So I listened to this interview this week. I was like, oh, hey, DRM's kind of interesting. We should talk about that. And then look what comes up in the news today. The Wii Shop channel is closing. Now, I think this is a big deal. Like this is a pretty, for a couple of reasons, I think this is very significant. Of course, ties right into DRM because, of course, all of that content is copy protected. And so what this means is all digital content for the Wii as of, it's like March 2019 or something.
January 30th, 2019.
Yeah, so it's just a little over a year from now. You will not be able to access the ability to purchase ends in a few months, and the ability to re-download ends in 2019. Which means once that 2019 date is there, that's it. All of your digital Wii content is gone. You cannot play it anymore unless it's on your console, and if your console dies, well, you're out of luck.
Let me read
that console ID to access that data.
Let me read the actual statement just so we don't get anything wrong. On January 30th, 2019, we plan to close the Wii Shop channel, which has been available on the Wii systems, blah, 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 blah. That doesn't matter. You can still add Wii points until March 26, 2018, and purchase content on the Wii Shop channel until January 30th, 2019. In the future, we will be closing all services related to the Wii Shop channel, including re-downloading purchased WiiWare, Virtual Console titles, and Wii channel, as well as Wii System Transfer Tool, which transfers data from the Wii to the Wii U. So yeah, it looks like basically you have until January of 2019, and then you lose all that, which is kind of what you were just talking about. That's a big problem because there's a lot of legacy games on there that people are going to want that they're going to lose access to. Does that mean now that Nintendo will migrate those games to the Switch's digital? And does that mean you would then have to, because it's a different system, you'd have to re-buy those games? Yeah, that is exactly.
I mean, and
problem.
that assumes that they even get to the Switch. I mean, that's kind of my biggest thing is like, this is just all going to disappear. Like any DLC, any exclusive games, it's just gone.
See, here's my weird take on it.
And keep in mind too, let me just throw this out there, then I'll kick it to you. But the Wii is not even as old as the Xbox 360. Just keep that in mind. Is the Xbox 360, I mean, that's a console that at least I play a lot still. The Wii came out after that console came out, which is why it's such a big deal, because it is not
and sold more.
It's not a long time ago. Like this system is not that old. Anyway, I'll stop talking.
No, I hear you. You are right. The Wii did come out about the same time as 360, or a little after. But the fact of the matter is, it's now 2 consoles back. They're on the Switch. The Wii U was the one before, and then this is 2 generations prior. It's like expecting Xbox originals on the one, which actually we're getting. But yeah. But and then I mean, I guess normally we wouldn't expect them to be keeping that kind of stuff around for that length of time. I mean, no, it's not supported on the Xbox side, really, because I mean, no one's previous purchases, I think, are going to be honored. I don't think that they can do that really at this point. I don't know. Did they say that they would? Like if you had bought something digitally originally for the OG, will you get it on the X1 for free? I don't think so.
You couldn't have bought. I mean, what could you have bought digitally on the original Xbox?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know.
There was one.
I can't. I don't think
there was one map pack for Halo that was digital only. I have it on my Xbox.
What map pack was?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be the one that gave us for free.
Halo 2. It might have been free. Yeah, it must have been, because I think it was like $4. It was really cheap.
Oh.
I don't remember that at all.
So there was the Halo 2 map pack that came out on a disc.
Yep.
It had 2 or 3 map packs you could install from the disc. And everyone had that because you get the map pack for like $10. And then after that, oh no, it wasn't on my original Xbox. It was on my Xbox 360 that I had that map pack. So I probably don't even have the file anymore. Maybe I do. I don't know.
Anyways, but I think Warren...
Because I remember, it was like one piece of content, but there was very little DLC or digital content on that console.
Yeah,
where
I think
the Wii was like, they had a whole shop like right from the get-go.
I do think that Warren has a good point, though. I mean, how long would or should we expect these services to stay up? Especially something like Nintendo is obviously behind the curve on this. Xbox Live kind of was built with the foresight to be able to grow and change, and Nintendo is just kind of stumbling their way through this sort of stuff. So, but there will come a day when Xbox Live will shut down. I don't know. I mean, how? So if we're trying to keep it analogous to, like, say back in the day, I would buy Super Mario World. And Super Mario World will always work on my Super Nintendo as long as I have a Super Nintendo and my Super Mario World game. If I buy Shovel Knight on my Wii, technically this is no different, at least in the fact that it will still work as long as you have your Wii and that copy of Shovel Knight, which exists inside of your memory card at that point, I suppose. Is it unreasonable for us to be like, no, we should be able to play it on our Switch? Or we should be able to play Xbox Live Arcade games on the next Xbox. Like, how long is it okay to expect that sort of thing?
And that's a really tough question, because I want to say, like, as long as Nintendo exists, just let people re-download it. You don't have to support a store. You don't have to do anything. Just let people re-download it.
But there's costs associated with that.
But I know there are. But I mean, there's also a lot of profits made on the digital stuff that maybe Nintendo doesn't make on the physicals. And I don't know. And that's just the thing, is like, yeah, you make a lot of money on digital goods, but you also have to support them, or you should have to support them, in my opinion. And I mean, maintaining that stuff is just a cost of that.
Well, let's put it this way.
But
how long does EA
I don't
support
have
their games?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you figure they've got
even
how many
worse,
years
like
out
2K,
of this?
18 months.
You know, I mean, if they're supporting it for, at this point, the Wii came out in
2007.
2007. Okay,
maybe.
So we're talking. I mean, almost 10 years. By the time this thing goes to close, it's going to be more than 10 years.
Yeah,
that's pretty good considering what the rest of the industry does.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a really tough question. Again, then you look, okay, but I bought a game on Steam 10 years ago.
2006.
I can still play it on Steam.
2006.
It's
but it wasn't.
I feel like, and the thing with Xbox too is they are bringing much of that content forward.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And I would assume the fact that there is backwards compatibility, the core services, including the ability to re-download things, is still there on the 360, even if they discontinue support. I mean, I'm kind of under the assumption that as long as backwards compatibility works, I'm going to be able to re-download my things that are not backwards compatible if I have an Xbox 360 and my account.
Yeah, it's weird though but when we're talking about the Wii. I mean, when the Wii came out, it was 5 years behind in terms of live services. So it's not surprising that they're going to be the first to shut down. Obviously, we're not hearing from this from Sony. We're not hearing like you mentioned Steam, who is obviously ahead of the curve with all this stuff, and we're certainly not hearing from Microsoft, who seems to be pretty committed to backwards compatibility stuff. It's Nintendo, and it's kind of not surprising. So because they are so far behind already, it just seems to be just it. I admit it sucks, and it's. But I mean, how many people do you know that are still playing downloadable games on the Wii? Not that changes it, makes it better or worse. I'm just saying, like, this isn't going to affect a tremendous amount of people. I
don't know anybody, but everyone I know plays Xbox or PlayStation. Sure. I mean, there's just not really people that play Wii in general.
Yeah.
I guess this just comes down to the thing, like, what they should do is if you're going to do this and you're going to cut everyone off, do, like I said, have some kind of patch that removes the copy protection. Because at this point, who cares? Doesn't matter if people can steal it. You're not selling it anyway.
Yeah.
And you can still play your content. I mean, that's just kind of what it comes down to for me. And like, why have all this stuff disappear? But really, though, ultimately, the thing that makes this so significant for me is this is the first time this has happened in a significant manner. As I don't know of any other major marketplace shutdowns where a significant amount of content is going to be lost. And I think it may change the outlook on digital. I don't know. What do you guys think? Because this is the first time people have lost their digital content permanently. Or will lose. Hasn't happened yet.
I don't know. It's Nintendo. It's not surprising to me, and
I know.
I think it shows a lot that Sony and Microsoft haven't even touched this route, and they don't seem to be indicating that they will ever. Both of them, in their own ways, seem to be kind of mostly committed to kind of supporting what's happened before and not dropping that off. To me, it would be much more significant if we saw this with PlayStation or something like that, or obviously Microsoft as well.
In fact, Microsoft is so committed that they even fixed the Games Windows Live Marketplace downloader. So there was a period of a few months where the servers were down, you couldn't connect, you couldn't re-download your content for Games Windows Live, and this is like years after they shut down the marketplace even. And they fixed it, and it has worked ever since. Which is just, I thought it was dead at that point. I mean, it was basically like, yeah, it's over. They're obviously not going to fix it. Who cares? They fixed it.
I think it comes down to priorities. Some people value more what their consumers are looking for. Some people value more coming up with something that's showing more ingenuity. Nintendo seems to be more pushing that creative envelope where Microsoft is kind of more centric to their core users' beliefs. It's like, because I don't think that we would have had backwards compatibility if we didn't have people constantly going, oh, hey, we need to get a hold of this. And I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Even though it's not even used that much, because I remember there was a chart that came out a while ago, and I would be totally wrong if
I think that was bad data.
You think? Okay, yeah. I was gonna say. I remember it had a really small.
I could be wrong on that, but like, I'm pretty sure that was just like somebody made that on Reddit or something, and like
okay.
some news place picked. I could be totally wrong in that, so don't quote me on that.
Because to be brutally honest, I know a lot.
Check
of
into
people.
that before we go.
Yeah, I'm not gonna really mention it because I really don't remember the numbers.
Well,
but they were trying to say that.
And
they
look
had
at the sales. Like look at the sales when a game goes backwards compatibility. I mean, that says, at least some significant portion of people are using it. Like when you see a game like, Red Dead goes backwards compatible, it is now the top selling game on Amazon. Call of Duty Black Ops.
I was going to say Black Ops. My God.
It goes backwards compatible.
That
now
was like
it's
everyone
the top selling
clamored
game
for it, and they got it
on Amazon,
and so many people played it. So
and it's just that alone says that a significant number of people are using this feature at least some of the time.
Oh, I'll agree. I even use it occasionally, especially for like things like UHH, because why boot up the 360 if I don't have to? I think that's their ultimate goal. Keep everyone on one console for everything, whether it be watching Netflix or playing your old 360 content.
Randy, you just mentioned Red Dead, and funny you did. Another transition here. Red Dead 2 trailer just came out, which is pretty exciting. Did you guys see the trailer? What'd you think?
I did not see the trailer.
I missed it too.
Oh my goodness. Well, okay. That will be the shortest news event ever in Z to Z history, where we'll just move on. I thought it was good, interesting looking. It's apparently a prequel from Red Dead 1.
Is there any... Well, we already knew that, I thought.
I don't remember. We could have known that before, but...
yeah, that was the leaked map suggested that it was a prequel. Was there anything else significant about it? Or
I didn't really see any familiar characters, but it's been a long time since I've played Red. So it's possible that there are some nods to Red Dead 1 in there. It's a very pretty looking game. The only issue I had with the way it looked was it's starting to get into a little uncanny valley with the facial expressions and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if they...
I feel like a lot of games are kind of getting that way.
Yeah, I don't know. So we'll see.
Kind of
but
the way graphics are.
Yeah, you could definitely see the continuation of GTA. Yeah, just real quick. It was really funny because I saw a little graphic somebody made. And, they showed... There was a little timeline and it said, guess the year that... Rockstar discovered microtransactions, right? And it was like 2008, this game came out. 2009, this game came out. And it went all the way up until GTA 5 came out. And that was 4 years ago at this point, and they haven't come out with a game since. It was just basically saying that they had released a game every year up until then, and now they just are just kind of coasting off of it.
They don't need to.
Yeah.
Well, shark cards are like such a hot seller.
Yeah. So we will see how much influence that has in Red Dead 2.
We all know what Red Dead Online is going to be. It's going to be the same thing.
Yep. Instead of buying cars, you'll be buying horses.
You mean someone's going to hack it and it's going to be broken forever?
And it won't come out for 2 months until after the game comes out. So we'll see what happens.
No, it'll come out right on time because that microtransaction money.
Yeah, it's true. It's getting a little stale for shark cards now, huh? So we need some horse cards, I guess, at this point.
Yeah.
Anyways, apparently you guys didn't see it, so we'll move on. You now have the ability to sort your friends list by game. Have either of you seen this, played with it, or at least seen any news articles about this? It's available in the Alpha Ring, so you have to be a preview member there. But you can actually search. If you have a big friends list and you want to see everybody that's playing, for example, Red Dead or whatever the case may be, you can search everybody that's playing that. I like this idea. I like the idea that you can filter your friends list. I'm getting, as time goes on, my list is getting larger and larger, and I kind of get sick of scrolling down the whole thing. I think that we should have the ability to filter by these sorts of things. What do you guys think?
I probably won't use it, but I'm glad we have the option. I have a couple people I've got favorited, and that's probably about as far down my list as I usually go. Sad to say.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way, but I could definitely see this being useful for people that maybe play one game a lot. Like, I would have used this a ton back in the day when I played Saints Row all the time. Because when I went online, I'd try and get a group together, and I'd just say, oh, who of my friends is playing Saints Row? I can just sort to Saints Row and be like, hey, you guys want to come play? I mean, I'm not going to use it because all of my multiplayer time is generally scheduled with a certain group of people.
Yeah.
And I don't need to just be looking down my friends list for people on a particular game, but I definitely see how it could be really useful to a large group of people.
Yeah, I have, like, basically the people that I know are my favorited friends, the ones that, you know, I've been friends with forever and years and years, and those are the ones that I'm most interested, like, when they sign on. But there are times, like, for instance, right now we're doing the Thursday night boosting of Plants vs. Zombies, and there are, like, 12, 15 people or whatever that are doing that, and sometimes I'm like, you know, I wouldn't have to scroll past all those favorited people. I could just say, hey, who's playing Plants vs. Zombies? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Xbox 360 automatically notifies you if a friend of yours is playing the same game that you are. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
You can turn that on or off, I think.
Okay, but yes, is that an option in the one? Because I don't get that same notification.
Thank God, no.
I like that notification.
I guess I was just getting...
I have all my friends sign in and stuff notifications on the one just muted.
Everything. So you don't get notified on the one at all?
I get notified for achievements. That's about it. And downloads. Achievements and downloads. That's pretty much it.
Interesting.
After the 360 with like having 100 friends and people always popping online and offline, I'm glad to not have that space constantly having something in it. So yeah, I don't really need notifications. I've disabled most of them.
That's fair. It's like a pretty niche feature, this sorting friends by game. I can see it being useful occasionally, but yeah, it's probably something that's more, it'll be there, but you're not very likely to use it. Have either of you checked out the new dashboard yet?
I have it because I'm on beta ring.
It looks terrible.
I'm not digging it. I don't like the horizontal like scroll bar at the edge where we used to have on the vertical. I'm still waiting for them to come up with something to replace Snap with, like they said they were going to do, and still haven't done. No, really not digging the new dash, and really don't like the white. Oh my god, it's so bright. Turn off your lights in your living room and really light the house with that.
I haven't checked out the white mode yet, but my thing with the new dashboard is it is much faster. So it looks like on the older version of the dashboard where the menu was kind of snapped to the left, it's no longer like that. It's a floating menu at this point, so it doesn't take up part of your screen. It just floats on top of it. It's much faster, the interface itself, but it takes 2 to 3 more button presses to get wherever you want to go. Like even to simple things like inviting people to party. You have to go over to the people tab, then you have to click on friends menu, then you'll get a list of your friends people, then you have to scroll down. It's like it's taking more button presses to get where you need to go. So the aesthetic of it is nice. I like the way it looks, but they're kind of removing some of the functionality, I think. The main screen when you boot up your Xbox doesn't by default it doesn't show your pins. You actually have to scroll down to get to your pins. I can see why it would speed up the system, of course, obviously, but you're losing some functionality there. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with it, but I'm curious to see what people think once it goes out to the wider group here. I think one more news item will do it for us tonight. Randy, I think you should probably take this because you probably take a little bit of maybe some sick pleasure in what happened to Volition.
Oh, yes. Yes. So, as we all know, Agents of Mayhem came out a while ago, and then everyone forgot about it the day it came out. And it turns out it didn't sell too well. And now Volition is cutting jobs. So again, I think, who else did this happen to? Was it Harmonix?
Yes, Harmonix cut jobs.
Didn't Harmonix cut some jobs a while ago?
Yep.
And I took a little bit too much pleasure in that. I take a little bit too much pleasure in this too. I think Freem found this before I did, but I first heard about it. It's somebody I saw somebody I follow on Twitter like tweet out a thing to Volition. It's like, everyone at Volition, I wish you the best or something. I was like, oh, what? Did Volition close? Like, what? No, just layoffs. So yeah, Agents of... I guess this is what happens when you make the same game 4 times and make it worse every time.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true. I mean, I do think Agents of Mayhem looks better than Saints Row 4 in terms of gameplay. I think the characters and storyline are going to be much, much worse. Just because it just, like, every little bit of it just seemed like it was trying so hard to be like really ridiculous and over the top, even more so than Saints Row 4. And this was like a full development, not just like this was going to be DLC and then we just decided to turn it into a game twice. And I mean, I don't know if GAT was going to be DLC for Saints Row 4, but it kind of seems like it. And then they were just like, oh yeah, it'll be a full game, sure.
So our sequel
not
to
surprising.
Yeah. The sequel to Get Out of Hell 2 probably not happening at this point. At least all indications point.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's
I was really looking forward to that.
Okay, I lied before when I said that there wasn't one more piece of news that we had, but we have you here, Warren, and let's talk about the fact that the last week we also brought up the fact that Leapfrog was still going on. It is now over, and it lasted forever. So what are your thoughts on that? I mean, were you expecting to go this long, and are you pleased with the results? Did your new format, did it achieve its goal that you were going for?
I'd like to think that we did accomplish what we set out for, which was to shorten the contest. Previously, it has gone in excess of 100 days, which, as you all can figure out, that's more than 3 months. This time, it ended on day 55. Infamous managed to crank out all the way 55 days.
It's crazy.
And at that point, I don't have it written in front of me now, but I want to say it was 11.6 ratio achievements. It may have been a little higher or a little lower. But absolutely ridiculous amount of effort required to stay in at that point. I want to say that we actually got it narrowed down pretty good to this point now. 50 days, give or take, is not really that bad for a contest. It doesn't seem like these guys got as burnt out as they did last year, and it didn't have the feeling like it was really dragging at any point. So, at least from my perspective, I think that it was a success. The people that were participants seemed like they really enjoyed it. They weren't like crying come the end saying, I need my bedtime. So, yeah, I think everyone came out of it mentally healthy, which is just as important as having fun with it, because contests do bring out some real competitive folks on TA.
Oh, my goodness. I couldn't believe it. I was like, 2 weeks ago, I'm like, nah, they're done. They're done. And of course, every single time, you should never underestimate this community. It's amazing what these people can do. So okay, this is a year out from the next competition, but 55 days. Would you like it more on the 50 side of things, more on the 60 side of things, or is this exactly kind of where you want it to be?
Truth be told, I think we're trying to shoot for like a month or just a little after that if we can. But in the same respect as we know we're never going to get there, so this was a pretty good effort. Shortening it much more is just going to be at the cost of those that are having fun kind of more in the beginning part of the contest. And I mean, coming up with a rule set that'll make it enjoyable for a couple of weeks without becoming too brutal immediately is going to be hard. So I don't think it's going to change a whole lot maybe in the future.
Yeah, I got to say it was, to me, as a casual participant, super fun, and like you said, you don't want to discourage a vast majority of the people playing your contest right out the gate by making it seem like, okay, I can only do this for 4 days or whatever. I'm only going to make it a week at most. But yeah, it seemed to be pretty well received, I think, and you guys are nailing right down there. And I'm sure, of course, you have a whole year to come up with it, and I'm sure you guys will narrow it down for next year. But good luck to you, and good luck to all these 2 years in a row, right? Is that correct?
Yep, 2 years in a row. He's insane.
My goodness.
I gotta hand it to him. He's got to be damn close to the ratio king on TA.
Congratulations to him, because that's truly impressive outing. Again, to do it 2 years in a row, I can't even imagine the discipline, the amount of effort you'd have to put in to get that high once. But to do it back to back is awesome. Super, super cool.
And the fact is, you look at some of the achievements that were used. I mean, granted, yes, Rare Replay and Killer Instinct played huge roles. But when you got to the point that you needed to pop so many of them, these guys went right past them. And they were getting into, like, Kayub. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but... a bunch of other stuff that's just relatively difficult. I think I saw a Trackmania Turbo achievement, like, close to the end there, too, on one of those guys. Just absolutely insane.
Yeah. I believe, if I'm remembering this correctly, and forgive me if I'm not, but Rare Replay was 9 out of the 10 most unlocked achievements, in fact, for the competition. So that's not surprising. It's not surprising at all to see that. So yes, congratulations. Not just Infamous, of course. All of those. The top 3 who stuck it out a good chunk longer than everybody else. But seriously, everybody else that participated, I had a lot of fun doing it. I know a lot of other people did, and it's one of those competitions that seems to be very, very well anticipated by the community, and I'm very excited to do it next year again as well.
Yeah, hopefully we can come up with something that keeps you interested.
All right, that is the end of the news. Now moving on to feedback. Listen, guys, I gotta be straight up with you. I'm not as organized as Freem, so I didn't even think about the fact that Freem wasn't going to be here, and I've got to kind of set this up. So I was a little late, so we don't have that much feedback this week, but that's okay. It's about quality over quantity. So I reached out, and Skeptical Mario wanted to talk about this. He says, serious topic. Sometimes I feel a little like an outsider because I have less DLC. The community is great about it, and I can handle a little needling. But it seems as though there's an unspoken expectation that people usually get all of a game's DLC. Do you think this is true in general of the community, if not in general? And I'll start because I'm guilty of this specifically in this case. I ribbed Skeptical Mario about getting DLC for Halos and Left 4 Deads, and but to answer his question, it's an interesting question because I think generally speaking, most people want to get as many achievements as they possibly can. So there is kind of this maybe unwritten rule where, okay, people will just get the DLC. Well, if that's not the case for you, if you don't want to pay the money or you're not interested in the DLC, that might cause a little bit of a friction there. What do you guys think? Because at this point, I will go for all the DLC. But have you guys ever, run into that issue?
I mean, I'm sure I've said this before, but I mean, I do get all the DLC. I think that DLC is part of the completion, and if I want the completion, then I get all the DLC. But at the same time, I don't think that that's an expectation, because I also know a lot of people that don't have all the DLC, or don't like DLC, or don't care about DLC. When I want to do DLC achievements with someone, I just go to one of my friends that has it. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm not going to play the base game with somebody that doesn't have DLC, or expect them to have DLC. So I don't think it's always true, at least not in my experience. I don't think it's an expectation by any means.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's expected. I typically also collect all of the DLC because, I mean, if I'm playing the game, chances are I want to play the game. I'm enjoying it. If I'm not enjoying it, then I'm definitely not going to continue playing it, and therefore I wouldn't buy the extra DLC. So, do I expect friends to have it when I'm playing with them? Not necessarily. Again, it comes down to, do you enjoy it? If I can't find friends with it, there's TA boosting groups. So one way or the other, it would always get done.
Yeah. So to specifically answer you, Mario, it's no problem that you, for some games, wouldn't have the DLC, or for anybody for that case. But of course, expect the ribbing. We're always going to tease you and joke you about it, just because it's fun. As long as everybody's having a good time, then there's no problem there. But I think, like you guys say, generally speaking, no, it's not an issue. If you get to a point in a game and somebody says they're done, whether it's whether it's DLC or not, it's just fine. It's just the way it is. They don't want to play anymore. There's opportunities to find other ways to get that stuff done. So that's not a problem, I don't think. He also asked one more question that is an interesting one. He says he's talking about speedrun achievements, and he wants to know what the worst game would be to have to speedrun. Now, I hate all speedrun achievements. They really bother me. Once I'm up against the clock, I start to fumble and fail, no matter what it is. Like literally, the noise that happens when Sonic is drowning is nightmare-inducing to me, and I clam up and I start to freak out, and I can't handle. It's like I cannot stand that noise. So I'm not good with speedrun achievements in general. So all speedrunning achievements would be terrible to me. But how do you guys feel?
I like speedrun achievements, but I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'm thinking like now that you said Guitar Hero, like try to speedrun Guitar Hero. You can't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Logistically,
does that kind of like win as impossible? But I'm trying to think of other games, and I just
actually,
really comes to mind because
you could if they put in a mode where that I guess would be like breakneck speed, but like where you could increase the speed.
It actually sped up the song,
like by 1.1 or 1.2, and the speed run would be who could get the highest time multiplier. Now that would be interesting, but also terrifying, and I wouldn't want to do that. That would be tough.
I mean, without changing the game as it already exists. I mean, Guitar Hero is probably the best and only real example, because you can't speedrun something that's already got a set time.
No.
I guess, like, what kind of game would really have crazy achievements that would drive me nuts would be something more like I don't know, Forza, almost? Or, no, because Forza's, like, normally driving, so, okay. No, let's go like Destiny. Those kinds of games. You got to speedrun missions and stuff on like higher difficulties. That would have to be the thing that would kill me. Because like you say, you're playing Gears on Insanity? No, not Insanity.
Inconceivable.
There we go. Could you imagine trying to speedrun one of those missions on Inconceivable?
No. No thanks.
Yeah. I just think of the other thing too, like a really clunky game that you just move very slowly. There's no run. There's no jump. Like, I haven't played it, but from what people say, it's something like Beyond Eyes or something. Like having to speedrun.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to speedrun that game.
You can't, because you can't manipulate anything. You can't skip things. You can't move faster. It's just kind of...
So Telltale games...
basically any walking simulator.
Yeah. Telltale games, you wldn't be able to just speedrun.
I'm going to try.
But there's definitely you can do one quickly, but like, can you imagine if there was like get it done in under 2 hours? Like that would be, I guess the only way you could really manipulate that would be to know the shortest route of conversation.
The shortest dialogue.
So
the shortest dialogue.
That would be.
You'd have to defeat the game by skipping all the cutscenes, and like you're going to end up skipping the game to get this completion of this mode.
Yeah, I think that would be probably a terrible speedrun achievement for sure.
Yeah. I do like, though, see, for best speedruns, we did talk about this a while ago, the Sims getting the baby taken away. That's kind of the best.
Yeah, that's right. We talked about that. Yeah.
I mean, there's a game that actually just came out recently called SEUM, Speedrunners from Hell, which is all about just getting the best time on levels against your friends in the world. So, if you like speedrunning, there's a game already built for you.
I don't have
Lost
the patience.
Planet 2 is also very fun to speedrun.
Another good example.
I have a lot of respect. I like to watch the streams when Good Games Done Quick comes every year. I like to watch it. I like to see the exploits. God, it is not the gamer that I am that I would want to do that, or I can't. These people spend hours and like one mistake and you're done. Nope. Too much pressure for me. I can't handle it. But great question, Mario. Okay, so I guess now we will just close. We're heading towards the end here. Let's talk about real quick what we're planning on doing this week. I imagine for you, Warren, as well as for me, UHH is going to kind of dictate what happens with that, right?
Oh, yes. I think actually tomorrow, because I'm off, I'm going to see if I can't make another dent in my list, but I'm not being able to pull this. This matchup is gone. I've lost. But I'll still see what I can plug away at it. I mean, I've got some Sexy Brutal and maybe some... as much as I'm sure Randy's going to love it, I got some Cameo co-op in my future.
Oh, boy. Oh,
hey. I see. I just helped with that.
Yeah, he helped me.
You guys might want to pair up.
Yeah.
I've already got this achievement.
That's true. Let me know. You know what? I could probably go for the
together.
achievements. Yeah. So let me know, and I'll help. I'll give you a hand if I can. But Randy, you must have the whole week planned out at this point, right? Are you ready for this? Or you got lots of things lined up for yourself?
Now, I mean, I have a loose plan. I don't have games specifically planned. So what I've been doing is, I want to try and get 2 games a day. So to keep that pace next week, between this recording and next recording, I need to complete 14 games, which isn't too bad because my goal for tomorrow was like 4 or 5, I think, whatever I said earlier. So basically, what I've been doing is I've been going between an ACA Neo Geo and a not Neo Geo game, just to kind of break up the huge mountain of Neo Geo games I have to play. So I've still got a few sub 2 hours. I'm going to play Turtles Quest, which seems very interesting. I mean, it looks bad, but it also looks like it was made by a small child, so it might be kind of cute. I don't know. We'll see.
It looks much better than Mr. Pumpkin.
By a small child.
It looks much better than Mr. Pumpkin.
Really?
You're gonna enjoy it.
Mr. Pumpkin is also on my list because that's another quick one. Unfortunately, I don't have the Chinese one, which would be nice. Yeah, so basically my whole week is going to be that. I think I'm going to try and play Cuphead this weekend. I'd like to try to play Cuphead. Because, does it look good? It looks so good.
Looks pretty, but my God, I know I'm going to suck at it.
Yeah. I would love to jump in there with you, unfortunately it's not online co-op, which I just learned recently. So.
Given the kind of backing and development time is kind of a shame, but
yes, it is.
I don't know. I think playing a game like that in co-op would be really, really difficult, personally. Kind of like an Overcooked style difficult, where it's just, you're focusing on this, the other person's focusing on that. You end up doubling up efforts. I don't know. I could be totally wrong on that, but that's what it kind of looks like to me.
Well,
although Metal Slug worked pretty well in co-op, so maybe
you'll have to let us know next week.
Yeah, that pretty much does it for me, though. Is I don't think I might play some other stuff, but we'll see. Oh no, that's not true. I'm going to play Saints Row 2 and probably Battlefield Bad Company 2 as well this weekend.
You should probably start Elite Dangerous just because.
I did that, and no. In fact,
that was about it.
I did. I started the tutorial, and that, I guess, as far as close to diving a game that I've ever gotten, I suppose. But yeah, so there you go. Hey, Randy, before we're done, what do you got for knobs and discos?
We got a lot this week. So, Ty the Tasmanian Tiger on Windows 8 had 2 achievements discontinued for beating a friend in a challenge and winning 50 challenges. So I assume whatever server that handled that is now dead. The unobtainable flag has been added. Been removed. This is a good one. Been removed from Episode's Hero achievement in Chroma Squad. NASCAR Heat 2 has 4 unobtainable achievements. The best at all the rest, the Road Warrior, the Short and Sweet, and the Tour the Tracks achievement. Not sure. It looks like a tracking issue. Not totally sure what's up with those, but avoid that one if you care about completions. The Carry the Torch achievement in Minecraft Story Mode Season 2 on Windows 10 has been fixed. So I think that makes that completable so far. and the discontinued achievement, or a discontinued achievement in Motocross Madness, the absolutely fabulous achievement for completing 3 Avatar Fame Star weekly challenges, which I guess don't exist anymore. So it's been a bit of a rough week. There's some old games on there. Not so great. But that does it for Knobs and Discos.
All right, well, let's go over to Review Zed, where they're going to be talking about Splasher.
Z to Z Podcast presents Review Zed.
All right, well, thank you for that introduction, Proulx. Here, Warren, get over here.
What, do I have to?
Yeah, I guess. You're still here.
Okay.
Now I'm here. So, welcome, or I don't know if it's maybe welcome me.
Yeah, welcome to the insanity.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks. So, I guess for Review Zed this week, we're going to be covering Splasher. This is made its way onto the Twitter feed a little bit for the last 2 weeks, so we're going to have 3 lucky listeners, I think, walking away or typing away, playing away to this title. Actually, 4 in total, because, yeah, four giveaways. But Splasher was published by Palladius, I guess, Palladius, that's how I'm going to pronounce it, developed by the Splash team, and this actually was released to Xbox One on September 27th of this year, so we're playing this very timely, just like at launch, and has an Xbox Live Store price of $14.99 and is your favorite genre.
Oh yeah, it's a platformer.
Oh, you love platform. You love when I tell you hey, we're playing another platformer.
And I go,
yes.
And you can know I'm rolling my eyes at you.
Oh, you're going, yes. You're like, it's best. So, kind of like I'm finding with a lot of ID titles, there's not a whole lot of story or plot development. I think my best summary is you are a splasher. I guess that's the name of what you are, what you do. You're a splasher. You splash stuff with colors or inks, if you will. And you see something you're not supposed to see, some weird genetic science experiment. And so you must now escape this wherever you work, factory, science. I have no idea what you're in because there's no words. It's just a few pictures and you have to escape.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of like Oddworld in that sense of how you're this random worker and you got to get out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, simple premise. You basically see, hey, I got to get out of here. And you have your basic running commands, jump, and then you have a splasher gun that you eventually, as you work through the levels, you get, I guess, different kind of inks. There's water, red sticky stuff, and then yellow bouncy stuff. I think that's it. I don't think there was any other. I think it was just the 3. If there was a 4th, I never got there. So
yeah, those are the ones I've seen.
Yeah. So so you get those, and it's kind of an open, not an open world, but it's you have a general map,
like a hub
that all
kinda?
the levels are late. Yeah, I guess that's the best way. What I do like is there's the speed runs that you could see early on, so you know. In a true platformer, they've just said, yeah, you know what? We're going to have speedrun. I guess requirements or options. Because I think a good platformer behooves itself to speedruns. It's just part of the nature of these types of games. Like you go through and you're like, hey, I think I can make this section without jumping. Or if I run it just really quickly right here. Some of these things, yeah. So, I mean, again, the game's built like that. However, I don't know if there was lack of testing, that there's a lot of issues with the game that's going to focus on having speedruns where you need to make sure your game is solid for doing speedruns. And this game has some major issues that I see if you were going to go through and get all the platinums.
Yeah. Although I understand it's a relatively new game, it does look pretty. I'll give them that. But when you move sideways and you start jumping, the most horrible lag spikes will just hit you. Rough. I mean, I don't know how you're supposed to do speedrunning and plan out your jumps and stuff if you're not really sure where you're going to be, given the lag in the game.
Yeah, and I mean, this is so I've done, and again, I think I talk about this sometimes. I do stream my console through the PC a bunch. So sometimes when I first was playing it, even though I'm on a wired connection in my house, you're playing via stream, and you're like, okay, maybe I shouldn't do it via stream. Maybe this is network. But when I think you don't stream, and I mean, we both had playing on different consoles the same problem.
Yeah, I played it literally on my box and still had uncontrollable lag issues. Not to the point that I couldn't finish the levels, at least the parts I've done, but it's discouraging, and it would really kind of take away my interest in working on speedruns, because it's just going to be that much more you got to fight against. It's one thing if you're trying to fight the game, like the platforming. It's another thing if you're trying to fight bad coding in the game.
Yeah, so I'm kind of looking online at the splasher stats, and so there's the splashers that you're supposed to rescue. There's 154. I'm at 97 of them. There's a few people that have all 154, so that's good. But where it's really more of a thing is on the platinum. So not only is there gold medals, there's platinum medal times, and there's achievement obviously for getting all the bronze medals, all the silver, all the gold, all the platinum. And right now I see one person has 13 platinums, and the guy's got 13 platinums, also has 15 of the silvers and gold, so he seems to be doing all that. And there's somebody that has 22 golds, but he doesn't look like he has any platinums. So again, I see both of these achievements unlocked. These guys are both up there, like kind of with the highest scores on the game. But yeah, I can only imagine, having only myself gotten a bronze and a silver, it's definitely tough with that slowdown, because as you said, you can still work through the level, but if you need a time where you are literally flawless in the game, you don't have time for it to chop and throw you off, because I mean, that second can be the difference between a silver and a gold.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I really hope they do a patch for that. Again, the game's pretty. It's, well animated, but it doesn't seem like there's anything going on that should be overly tasking an Xbox One's processor.
No, I can't imagine there's anything that it's got to be something else in the game.
Yeah, so, I mean, and for a game that, if it wasn't, because the things like for me in a platformer, you need solid controls, right? You need controls where when you jump, I look at Rayman. Rayman's my kind of, that's a solid platformer with responsive controls. You still have to do your speed runs, all those kinds of things are in there, but like Rayman Legends, that those controllers were tight. They were phenomenal, and so you can have that type of precision, expectation to do it. And this game it's close, but it's not quite there. And unfortunately, with requirements that need it to be there, if you're going to do that well in the game, it's kind of frustrating. That's just me.
I completely agree with you. But then again, it's a platformer, so it's frustrating.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on it? I mean, I've been monopolizing this conversation this week, as I would say.
Like you said, I agree. It's a very pretty game. I do like the mechanics. Basically, you've got a gun that will help you shoot stuff to help you maneuver around. You got bouncy goo, you got sticky goo that lets you climb walls and stuff. And then there's like these cannons that are placed around the levels as well that are also shooting out these different kinds of goo, and you need to navigate your way through the levels. It's both horizontal and vertical scrolling depending on like what you're working on. It seems like it works. It works very well as what it does. However, the lag makes the speed running really difficult. So just to actually complete the game, it'll be a little annoying, but not horrible. However, to try to do these speed runs, I mean, you can probably see why that no one on True Achievements has yet popped the achievements for all the gold medals, all silver medals, all bronze. Whether there's a broken one or whether they're just that hard, it could be this lag that's causing people to not be able to pop them. I'm not sure. Would I consider this a great game for preloading for GTA SC?
No.
Probably not. Mainly because of the skill level involved in getting stuff done. I would say if you can pop these achievements, get them out of the way. Enjoy your time in the game and just find something else that's got bigger.
Yeah, this is definitely not a G task. I mean, it will have some sweet. If you could have every level speed run. I guess you could, in theory, speed run everything but the first level. And if you were that good and solid at the game, you could technically have, I mean, those ones with no achievements yet, I'm just kind of looking at the achievement list. And if you got that gold, silver, bronze, if you did all three of those 50, 100, 150, 200... Gamerscore ones, and then with the ratios, that would be a huge boost. But that you're gonna have driven a lot of time into that game. Yeah. So to your point. Yeah.
So
yeah. But I mean,
not
overall,
really right.
From as platformers go, it's. I think if there's an update that can fix some of that glitchiness, that would, for me, make this a great game for 15, because the amount of time you're going to put into this to do the speed runs, you'll get the $15 worth. No question in my mind.
True. This isn't like some of the games we've reviewed recently where it's just a single playthrough and there's nothing else after you've completed it. There at least are other modes of play that once you at least know what you're doing, and you can start fine-tuning your speed.
And the checkpoints, I thought
there
they
is
were
that going
fairly liberal with the checkpoint. They weren't just so absurd with the checkpoints that they're everywhere, but there's enough distance through them. It's like a difficult sequence. You get to it, it's done. So to really be able to practice and kind of go through to even practice to do the speed runs, I think it's, again, it's solid in there. Like, the levels are challenging, but not so excessively long. I mean, your speed runs are 3 minutes, 4 minutes a level, which is not absurd, but it's not just so short you're going, what was that? We played one platformer where I think like there was some speedrun things and they were literally like under 45 seconds. So you're going, okay. I'm just trying to remember what it was. It was that memorable of a game. Yeah, so I mean, again, I think this has great replay to it. They definitely did a solid job. It's just it just frustrates me when that's that big of a component that has issues.
No, totally agree. Yeah, hopefully they'll have a patch coming out. And like you say, it was just released not even a week ago. So there's definitely some hope.
I definitely
this does
like
get
to
some more
see
love
some more
given
love,
to
because
it.
I think overall for me this was a really solid title. Just that it's almost, I'd say it's worth playing if right now you could just live with not having it completed on your tag. If you could complete it at the state that it's in, more power to you.
And then there's probably a lot of other platformer games that we are going to suggest you try playing, because
there's some bullet hells out there for you.
Hard.
All right. So I guess with that, so we're giving it a tentative pass. Yeah, just buyer beware on some of the challenge, but yeah, cool. Anything else?
It's a fun time. No, that's pretty much it. Yeah, buyer beware. It's a fun game. Yeah. Enjoy it for what it is.
It's not worth breaking
and hopefully
a controller
don't let it frustrate you too much.
All right. Till next week, everybody. Thanks again, and I guess Warren, I'll let you back off with the other guys now, right? All right, sounds good.
Well, everyone, looks like you get another outro from me this week. And I'd like to thank you all for listening. Of course, it's always been fun recording and publishing these episodes. We have a great time making them, and we hope you enjoy listening to them. If you really enjoy listening to them and you want to help support us financially, of course, you can find us on Patreon. That's down in the show notes. And that keeps the show running. All that money doesn't go into our pockets. It goes to the show. It goes to improving the show. We're pretty close to our tier now where we want to give away a retail game every week. We're not quite there yet, but maybe you can help us out. If you don't want to help us out financially, you can't help us out financially, give us a review on iTunes. Tell your friends. Tweet us on Twitter. Retweet our tweets or something. You know, just get the word out there. Get more people listening to the show. Of course, you can always find any of the things we mentioned in the episode that we think are important. And, you know, our contacts, our websites, anything important to the podcast always goes in the show notes. You can find that on our website, z2z.com. That is ZEDTOZED. You can always find it there. We also have our forum where you can find info on contests and all that good stuff. That is forum.z2z.com. So just pop on there, say hi. You want to join a contest? Come to the forums. I'm laughing now at this because last time I got made fun of when I made an outro. So I'm just going to cut it off here. I hope you like listening. Hope you enjoyed listening. We had a good time making it. And we will see you next week.